Hello? 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 It's me. Alright. I'm just gonna get right into it. I've actually been working on this for longer than you may expect today. Wow. Wow. Look at this. So, this is where we're at right now. How cool, how cool. This actually kind of breaks right now, so I do need to fix that for the platform specific stuff. I still need to think about it. But we can go into here. Actually, is remote control? Yeah, okay, remote control server isn't implemented, but look at that. So we have mouse tracker, tracks your mouse position, assumes that your mouse is being tracked on your primary screen, but then we can change these options. Oh, hello, Oro. I will thank you for redeeming a hydrant. I'll wiggle over to my other desk. Look at this guy. So fancy. 2 desks. There we go. 300 milliliters down the hatch. Yeah. Check this out. Wow. I'm not sure why when I start tracking, it always leaves, whatchamacallit? It always leaves the eyes at 0. You know what? Now I'm thinking about it and I said it out loud, I think I do know why it always starts the eyes out at 0. It's because I zero out the eyes every single time. So, okay. I think that's something that I should probably change. But I'm pretty sure like this will just work. So even if I unfocus it and just kind of like wiggle it, actually no, if I wiggle it down here. So you can't see it, but I can see it. Yeah, so this works even if it's not focused, at least on Windows. Something that's kind of interesting is because I have so many screens, it's a bit weird. So like I have a top screen, so I can actually go way up here. I have a bottom screen as well, so I can go way down here, which kind of breaks it. I also have a side screen, so I can go way over here. So I guess the implementation is a bit naive. It's probably a polite way of putting it. But, you know, as long as you select your main screen appropriately, it should work. It should work. It works, yeah, it works, TM. It does exactly what I told it to. Where the algorithm is extremely simple, actually. Algorithm is extremely simple, where I just take your screen position, your mouse position, subtract the screen midpoint from it, and then I just assume that your main screen is, that's the screen midpoint. So of course for me, this is my main screen. But I guess if you're a streamer, you might actually be playing things on another screen for whatever reason. I know, in my opinion, that's like a psycho thing to do, but I get it. I get it. Maybe you're playing like an emulator thing that only works on a lower resolution monitor, or it looks better on a lower resolution monitor. Sometimes, I don't know. But this is something that could totally break, which is why it's actually configurable for you to choose your screen. But of course, I actually tested that. And then even better than that would be the ability to define, I guess, constraints for your model, but that's neither here nor there. I'm actually curious, what happens if I do this? If I start there, so, okay, that is screen 0, but then, I guess it doesn't matter. What if I do 1? Which one is screen 1? Is this screen 1? Is this screen 1? How about this one? What's screen 2? I actually have no idea which screen this is pulling from. -1 should pull it from this screen though. Yeah. So it looks like it's a bit off-center. That's because this is taking, my screen center is actually about here. It's just that this bar kind of skews it. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually check. Let's actually check. So we do return OS get screen size. So -1. Yep, that's my current screen. So what is screen 0 should be the same one, but then what's screen 1? Oh, I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Okay. So I'm just basing it off of this screen size. So yeah, so screen 1 is this screen that's off to my side that I can actually show you. Wow, it's my vertical monitor. And I was also looking at the XDG desktop portal stuff, just to see how they're making it work. And I gotta tell you, I have no idea. It looks very fancy though. Not super sure how that stuff should work. Yeah. But anyways, for this stuff, let's close this. I'm pretty sure this would just work. So if you just move your mouse off, and then I can recenter it. Oh, that's not very centered. Hold on. So we say this is 1, then we can recenter. I don't know, actually. That doesn't seem right. Actually, this looks way more correct. That's weird. I'm unsure. I'm unsure. So this is actually my bottom screen, and I censored it on that. I don't know. I'll need to look more into that. That's neither here nor there, though. Let's do the rest of this stuff. So this is mouse tracker. Yeah, there's the zip file. I'll just eat it. I don't need it. I especially don't need the Linux version on my Windows machine, but I've actually been using WSL2 to build all this stuff, which is really nice. I should have done this earlier. There's a lot of things I should have done earlier, but I just didn't, mostly out of laziness. All right, so I've made one change already. I know that. Okay. So there's some YAML stuff. There's the generate release stuff. We'll get around to it. The mouse tracker should not be added. So really the only thing right now is the pub sub thing. Yeah, which is just better error handling for the pub sub. Maniac, yeah. Absolute mad lad. Uses a really, really the only good feature of modern Windows builds. Absolute bad lad. which is to say WSL2. I like it. I actually like it. It's actually somewhat close to how, I guess, the XFCE4 Xterm, I guess that's what it's called. Not XFCE4 terminal. Xterm works. All right. So let's fix some other stuff though. So mouse tracker, that's pretty much good to go. I'm just not going to include that. Pub sub, this does need to be changed. Translation manager. Okay, so both of these, translation manager and extension manager. This needs to pull from here, the resource path. So then blah blah. Default search folder. Yeah, okay. So we need to search here, and then we also need to search we also need to search under your user data directory. But this is the default scan path. But like, what do I do here with the scan path? Do I ever reuse it? Do I ever reuse it? Does it even need to exist at this level? You know, I don't think it actually does need to exist at this level. Yeah. So here, scan path. I can actually feed this in as a parameter. Oh yeah, I should definitely do that. So move that there. We'll call this scan path. Feed in the scan path here. Remove this so we're not shadowing anything. And then, yeah, there we go. It's beautiful. I don't know why I always do these really boring things on stream, but then, like, I do the cool stuff off stream. I think it's because when I'm doing the cool stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I'll probably just throw this away anyways, because it's not going to work. And let me tell you, it totally worked. So scan, this actually returns an error thing. Should also handle the error here just in case. Result. Yeah, I think regarding the Discord thing, I didn't realize that people were actually like trying to build on this. And I know one of the initial things for the entire like use of Godot, right, was to make it really easy for other people to contribute. But I don't know, just no one. there was like no one contributing. So I was like, you know what if we just kind of don't do that anymore? And here we are. Because it was just like too inconvenient at some point to try to cater to a crowd that doesn't exist. Which is something that could possibly be said about the Windows crowd for this. But I tend to go along with the theory, the line of thinking that end users are plentiful. You'll have tons of end users, at least in comparison to the amount of contributors you'll ever have. Let me see. I'm gonna hit enter before I meant to. Someday. Yeah. I understand. I understand. It's easier to work on projects adjacent to this. So like the Flatpak stuff. Because also the Flatpak stuff is also just applicable to other things. Right? As opposed to, yeah, so you get really good at one thing that applies to many, as opposed to getting really good at, you know, just the one Godot thing, Godot project, which can really only be used for Godot projects. Which is not entirely true, but I get the sentiment. It's a line of thinking that I can understand, but I don't necessarily agree with. I think that's because I've ascended in terms of programming. There was something I needed to look at here, but I don't remember. I opened this up. This is something I need to work on because I added this today. On the code side, yeah. I think before like even have contributors, I need to get my stuff together and actually go through the projects. You know what? Since we're here, I might as well. Welcome to the all new projects. Let's add an all new project. Go to the. What does this mean? Oh, can you only have projects per organization now? Okay. What the heck? But yeah, I do realize that before I can even have contributors, I actually need to compile a list of tasks, which can be tough. What is a table? Start with a powerful spreadsheet-style table to filter, sort, and group your issues and pull requests. Easily switch to a task board layout at any time. I prefer the backlog thing. I like Kanban boards. I hate iterations. But no, you know what? I get why you would want this. You know what? Let's try a table first. You know what? I don't know. Let's use a Kanban board. Oh baby. And then we can add a blocked. Okay. So, am I using Dark Reader on this? I am not. Okay, so it is just this ugly. Okay, view 1, sure. Ewan's Untitled Project. Sounds about right. Let's call it, I don't know, just a VPopper. Just in general. To do. Can I go back to VPopper? And then I can access the project from there? Is that how that works? Quick access to relevant projects. Add projects from your organization. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is that it? That's all it is now projects are moved to the organization level? What? Can I add an issue from here? Add a readme? No. Status chart. Almost a status chart. I'm not Canadian. Okay, well. Suppose we might as well. So how do I add this to a project? Can I just add this? Oh, okay. Oh my god, I need to go through every single one of them. No status. And then move this to do. Is that how that works? And then if I refresh this, does this update itself? Okay. You know what? It might be better just to have a new view. So view 1, we can column field status. Okay. So the Kanban board, and then this is just the list. Okay, cool. Pipewire. Is there an easy way for me to change all of these from here and now? Anything that's an enhancement should be put into here. Loose avatar streaming. I guess that's an enhancement. I guess I don't really get it. This one I can actually work on right now. Projects. This one. Status. In progress. He's done it. How do I filter by no status? I don't want no status to show up. Oh, MSAA time. Well, it's actually really easy. Oh, hello, Joe Spy, Ho Spy. How are you? Kind of just doing random cleanup stuff before I move back to working on one of the in-progress pull requests. So the next one on the docket is the remote control server, because that's pretty easy. Stage options, I still need to think about. Oh, it's Nero. Oh, hello, Nero. Wasn't the issue that was a bit hard to manage the different configurations? That's how it was in OpenSea Face GD. That's how it was in OpenSea Face GD. Now that I'm completely unbounded from the old UI system, which was very, very good, but also extremely complex, which made it hard to add new things. Now, the new system is just like, this is the screen. All right, this is the screen. It looks ugly, but then when you actually go into the application, it looks a lot better. Oh, yep, duck is broken. So yeah, here it is. So then if I show off this stuff, yeah. So this is what we're working with, is that you just kind of toggle these things on and off. You add them as needed. The old UI was beginner intuitive, but didn't work well for complicated things. Yeah. It was also like the entire application was just really hard to extend. Whereas now, right, like I was able to get the mouse tracking thing working pretty much like during one meeting where I didn't have to say anything, right? I think that's a testament to how much easier it is to work with. Yeah, look at that. So the new system is really easy to work with. That's pretty much it. Although there are things that need to be cleaned up. Let's see. So we want to do MSAA. We'll slap in an HBox container. We'll call this MSAA. And then we'll add a label. Do size flags expand. MSAA, and then we'll need to add an option button. We'll expand it. And then here, okay, I gotta think about it. What are the various MSAA options I have available? I guess I could look in the settings, so I'm just gonna look here. So MSAA. So we have, well, the viewport, we have these. I guess if we want to get really fancy with it, I could set it directly on the visual server, but I'm not going to do that. Small suggestion for the mouse tracker, maybe make it have a little note for Linux that says X11 and X Wayland only. Okay, I could do that. I could do that. Or you could submit a pull request. I think the only thing that needs to be changed there is the translation file. So the translation file, pretty easy. I'm actually just using the translation stuff as like a CMS, content management system service. So the Linux one, there's actually a Linux specific one. So there's like additional setup stuff. So you need to actually like go to this URL and figure it out. Because I don't know what distro you're using. I suppose I could actually check, right? So if I just like do an ls on your /etc directory, I think I could figure it out, but I'm not going to. And then similarly, I could also, isn't there an environment variable that tells you which display server you're using? I don't remember. I feel like I remember there being something like that. Yeah. I think that the important thing here is just to remember new lines matter here, which is why like this looks kind of weird. Yeah, and then I guess if you want to insert additional UI elements, it's also fairly easy. So this is where all the UI elements are generated. XDG current desktop, XDG session type. Does that exist on regular distros as well? Echo XDG session type. Oh, I don't have that. Current. Maybe it's because I don't have any X server installed. Yeah, that might be because I don't have any X server installed. Also, how do I... Oh, okay, I can actually just run the terminal like that. Okay, what was I doing? I was doing this. All right, so MSAA Godot. MSAA stuff. Hold on. Pipewire. We can add it. We can add it, and then I'll just add it as like not to the backlog. But hold on. Godot MSAA. What is MSAA? Godot viewport Look at the docs. Not using viewports. I know how to use viewports already. All right, these are the MSAA things I have access to. Yes. So here, I think I can actually add items like this. I strongly dislike using the editor for this though. I think that's, oh, also thanks Nero for the follow. Yeah, I really only use the Godot editor for, at least for GUI stuff, I only use it for positioning. And even then, I try to be somewhat reserved about it. Not reserved. What's the word? Somewhat constrained. Yeah. Connect element. Use FXA. No, this is not super duper possible. Actually, no. This might just be as easy as I think it's gonna be. Yeah. So we go here. We could just add these items like this. So we have... we have disabled. We have... MSAA to X. I guess we'll add the space, why not? MSAA 4X. See, this is actually something I don't really know what this means. Multi-sample, is this multi-sampled ambient occlusion? Is that what it stands for? Multi-sample anti-aliasing. Yeah, okay. See, it was right in front of my face and I didn't even read it. So yeah, all right. And I know I just went off on like a weird tangent about how I hate doing this, but whatever. I guess we're already doing it the weird way. So that's fine. All right. I think this does need to be handled slightly differently from the other ones though. Actually, what does connect element do? Connect element, call connect, and then it's... okay. Yeah, okay, I see. And this is actually gonna break as soon as I run it as well. I see, I see. Connect element, connect button, connect check button. So this is connect option button. So what is this? This is option button. I think this is something that needs to be refactored because it's a bit complicated. Or it's a bit overly complicated. It is very nice. But this args parameter is completely useless. Because I always just pass a string anyways, I think. But I don't remember. So I need to go back through and inspect every single usage of it just to make sure I'm passing in a string every single time. And I'm pretty sure I am. I'm pretty sure I am. But it's hard to say sometimes. Yeah. Connect options button. So this is... what option button things are we looking at? So this is viewports. Let's look at option Buton. So what are we looking for? Item selected. Emitted when the current item has been changed by the user. The index of the item selected is passed as an index. Okay, so there's also a pop-up menu, which is what I generally use. Index pressed. Okay, so from option button, I can get item text from the... okay, so I should be using this, not the pop-up. That's fine. So option button connect. This is... what was it called? Item selected. Item selected. on option button selected. I can pass in the args and then also the option button along with it. If the app manager, config manager has data, yeah. So this is why I think this this does need to be refactored. I wonder if I can just okay, let's not change too many things at the same time. Option button. I can set item. How do I set the current selected item? Is it just via selected? Okay. I think that could work. Unfortunately, I do need a mapping between... Well... I don't, actually. As long as I follow these... Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, no, these aren't... These aren't bit values. These are just default enums, so they count up from 0 to 4. All right, this will actually work. Option button text. Get it working, refactor it after. Well, we're actually at the kind of refactor point because I already got it working. And then I'm kind of realizing like, oh, this kind of sucks. So maybe I should actually refactor it before I start adding new stuff onto it. That's kind of where I'm coming from with it. It's like we've already done the dirty implementation, and then generally this is where you would go in and start refactoring stuff. Get item text. And then this is a string. So am cm get data. Should be fine. Oh, what is this? Option is not. Oh, right. Option button. Okay, just a random error. That's fine. Oh, and this will also break. Wait, no, because this is a string, so that's fine. Oh, but then I also need to check get item count. I need to make sure that this value is valid. So index, because this is only done on setup, so it's fine if it's a bit slow. Items, get data args. So we'll just try to cast it to an integer. And then if index is greater than or equal to option button get item count, then this is actually a huge error. We should have a logger. Yeah. Yes, we should have a logger at this point in time. So logger error. Not how you spell error. Error. So option button or try to set up option button with invalid index. Something like that. Logger. Of course, the classic. I mean, I did write like a mouse logger like earlier this day. It's today, not this day. Did write a mouse logger earlier today, so I guess my life kind of revolves around loggers. Somewhat amusingly, I should say that that was also during a work meeting about logging and monitoring for Kubernetes clusters, of which I had no idea what anybody was talking about, since I am not involved with that effort, but I am part of that team. Hooray. What a great use of my time. Subscribe self to, well, with the args. And args. Option button. Callback. On config updated. And then we just need to handle that appropriately. So on config, where is on config updated for the other things? So this is runner. Does runner have an on config updated? It does not. Does config even use this? I don't remember. Does bones use an on config updated? No, it does not. Oh, because bones is a bit weird. I'm looking at the wrong things just constantly. Model. Okay, so what do you use? On button pressed on. On event published. Hold on. I've confused myself. Callback on config updated. Is that you? Okay, it is you. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I see. These are just the callbacks. Option button. And then I'm supposed to actually override this for any specific thing. If there's a specific type of functionality that's needed. I remember now. It's all coming back to me. Let's actually add callback for updating control state. Should not be used to actually manipulate data. Yeah. So mouse tracker plugin trigger a blink when a button is clicked. That would be neat. That would be neat. Actually, you know what? That would be really neat. That's a good idea. I actually like that idea. I need to make sure that that's even possible, though. So let's continue to get really distracted, not confused, distracted. So can I listen for that? I'm not sure if I can actually listen for that. So I can press, and I can click. Wait. What's the difference between press and click? Oh, okay. So the difference between press and click is press holds it down, whereas click presumably does a press and then release. Yeah, okay. There we go. But it doesn't look like there's anything that allows for me to listen for that. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, all I can listen for is these things. So it might be worth looking into if it's possible to do this in XDO. So does XDO have, what is actually move mouse, or what's mouse up? XDO click window? I don't know. I'm a bit more familiar with Windows's completely bonkers Win32 API, which I think could totally work. The blink key customizable so the user can have it something like the spacebar triggered as well, not just a mouse key. That's kind of tough, actually. So as it turns out, on pretty much every single platform, like getting keyboard input is extremely difficult. Probably because, like, you know, mouse position, that's fine. Like, who cares if I can read where your mouse is? Right? Because it's almost impossible to figure out, like, where the window is on screen anyways, right? Because I know that there are some psychos out there that like to just manually resize their windows and then just do this. And it's like, what? You just keep your window, like, here? That's wild. but a keylogger is much more important because that's easy. That's how you can get passwords, etc., etc. So you gotta be careful about that. Yeah, so maybe the mouse click thing I can do. The keyboard thing a lot harder, and that's actually why I was working on the remote control server. So that would just be easier. Feed in external input as opposed to writing a keylogger. Assume that Windows at least has no policy on it whatsoever with what I've seen when I used to use it. It's difficult. So most of the programs or most of the libraries that implements like keylogging, they need to run as a standalone program, which makes it tough. Pretty much, actually, yeah, for everything needs to run as a standalone program. What was I looking at? Here. So this is some sort of control. What's the purpose of a remote server for VTuber? Well, it's a remote control server. So it allows you to remotely control it from another application. Right, so in lieu of a keylogger, you can just, you know, have another program open that is listening for inputs and then have that feed it over to VTuber. Right, so VTuber won't be able to directly listen for keyboard input, but you could write another program that does it and then just forwards it over to VTuber. Oh. Tits? What? What is that? Wait, I'm assuming it's not lewd. I feel like I've seen that before. That's the thing where you can throw stuff at models. I don't know if I just should open this on stream, but let's do it. Okay, you know what? I got a little nervous as soon as I saw the pink background. I think, okay, I've seen this before, yeah. Yeah, doesn't this also work for VC face? Yeah. So control, what am I looking for? How do I set something as being, oh, this is like the pop-up menu. Toggle item checked. Actually, shouldn't I be doing toggle item checked? I should be doing toggle item checked. Okay, this is where I've been messing up. So here, connect option button. So I need to do two things here. So one, we need to set the item text, but then also we need to do var pop-up. Twitch integrated throwing system. Yeah, I mean, in theory, pretty easy to do. But that does require me to finish work on one of my other things. I have a lot of things in progress, you might might realize. So I was writing this library, but in order to finish writing this library, TwitchGD, I needed to finish writing this library, HTTP util, yeah. I need to finish writing this library so I have an actual HTTP server to use, right? And so now that this is done, I can finish work on TwitchGD, and then once TwitchGD is done, then I can start work on Twitch integration with VTuber. Which is tough since I only work like 12 hours a week on this. And then I say like 9 out of the 12 hours that I'm working on this, I'm also somewhat inebriated. Past the Balmer peak, because I do this in my off time. So pop up, set item, or toggle item checked, set item checked, set item checked. So index, okay, hold on. Index. Oh, and then this needs to be like true. Everything else should be false. So index, okay. Or actually we could just multicast it. Or not multicast, but you know what I'm talking about. Set item checked, index true. What am I doing? Okay, so that will work. And then we'll go back up to this callback. And so control text, and it'll be very, very similar. I should actually just copy and paste this so I don't get too confused. Yeah, I found the to-do list is so much, and out of curiosity, I'm looking into packaging for HTML5. I'm not sure if that's going to work. It could work. You know, I haven't looked too much into it. Yeah, I think if you are feeling up to it, you can modify the to-do list. The Kanban board, if it were. I'm still figuring out how to use GitHub's Kanban board. All right, so this is payload data. So these are all payload datas. So these should be mapped 1-to-1 back to just integers 0 to 4. Is tricky. Which thing is tricky? Packaging for HTML5 or packaging for or modifying the GitHub to-do list? HTML, yeah, that is very tricky. It is very tricky because you also got to remember that HTML5 is, well, it's not single threaded, but it's very constrained. You don't have as many threads, or you don't have as many features as you do on desktop. Which is generally why like a lot of, you know, like 3D games that run in HTML5, right, in your browser look kind of bad. Oh, hello. There's the help commands. I'm glad to announce that my bot is actually working for this stream. How cool. It doesn't always work. Mostly because the container that's running it usually crashes. I blame Discord though. Yeah, Flash games. Yeah, actually Flash games I think were entirely single-threaded. For config updates by default, describing to the given args parameter. Also sets its initial value by from B. Param option button. All right. So to do, change all of these to just be strings. So these are just signal name, not args anymore. I feel like there's a reason why I made that args though. Hold on, did I write the reason up here? By default, is the signal name as a string. Okay. Good job, me. Didn't give an explanation. Refuses to expand. So variant by default is the signal name as a string. Okay. So here, now that I've added this stuff, that should be okay. Maybe, possibly. Yeah, that's probably fine. And then we'll go back to settings, which is here, right? So we're still here. We have all of these options for our option button. It's called MSAA, and then just hit it with a connect element. We'll grab this thing, slap it into there, and then MSAA value, I guess. Commenting code is hard because you think it's not important until you go change something. Yeah, exactly. You think it's not so bad, or even when you do add comments, the comment's too specific, and then when you start changing the actual code, you forget to change the comment, and now the comment's wrong. Right? Commenting code is dangerous, for sure. Because it's basically like another line of code that you have to maintain. So that's what like code review is really good for, right? Is you have someone else who checks over your code. You know, logically, does your code make sense? But also, did you remember to change all the things you should have changed? All right, but this is, what kind of configuration is this? Config, we'll put this in metadata, why not? So this would be MSAA value. All right, so MSAA value, so this will be some sort of integers, 0, right? So this will map back 1-to-1 to, maps back 1-to-1 with viewport MSAA. Could be documentation is trickier than the comments. Yeah. It can be trickier because you have to be careful not to over-explain. But if you don't explain enough, if you under-explain, then the comment is useless. All right, but here we'll do this, and then under... When do I... Default runner. Do we do it in default runner? We do it in default runner. Okay. So MSAA value. So FXAA. Still not sure what does FXAA stand for? FXAA. What is FXAA? Please. Godot. Or what? FXAA meaning. Fast approximate anti-aliasing. Okay. Fast approximate anti-aliasing. There we go. About as fast as a Google search, but you do have the roughly 3 to 4 seconds of delay. Very impressive. Golf clap for you. Config listen value. Why am I not doing this here? Default runner. So we can look at there. Okay, so here we subscribe, but then we also need to apply these immediately. Oh, I see. I'm an idiot. You've forgotten me? Oh, it's you. It's been quite a long time. How are you? How have you been? Forgotten. I'm assuming you haven't been here because of school. Is that correct? Oh, actually, this is not how this works. Doing good? Are you doing good or are you doing well? Are you secretly Superman? Got him. No, I do not have school. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. I only recognize the username because it's like slightly, not really elite speaky, but I guess how is just regular life treating you then? Real life. School isn't real life. School is like an approximation of real life. It's one of those things where like now that I've been out of school for 5 years, I'm like, wow. School life is like just a weird time. It's like one of those times where like things don't really matter, but things are also like extremely, I guess, planned out for you. It's hard to describe. All right, project settings. close all of these, I guess. Project settings. I'd already searched it once. Which I have some textbooks to read. Just do what I always did in school and don't read them. Who needs to read? Reading's for nerds. Yeah, honestly, I was a really terrible student in school. Because I only ever did the readings that were interesting to me, which were like, there was like 2 classes, right? One is, or was, math stats. That was a fun one. And it was also like extraordinarily important because the professor for that class was absolutely useless. All right, this might work, by the way. Yeah, so I basically taught myself like super duper upper level statistics. And then got a C in the class, which is pretty good. I was in the top 1/3 of the class. Everyone else failed. Do I have a choice about reading it? Staying interested is hard. It is very hard. Just do what I do and don't do any of the homework, and then cram 1 or 2 days before the exam. And then just try to get a C. And then rely on your other classes to push you forward. So unironically read ahead in textbooks in school for fun. Nerd. Take CS courses this term. It took me a long time to even take CS courses because I thought I would get rejected. So I just went full business. And even when I went full business, I still only took like MIS, Management Information Systems. So we only had like 2. Oh, actually, no, 3, but one of them was databases, which I don't count as programming. All right, so here it is. Let's see if it makes a difference. So we're not even using, this is what it looks like with FXAA. If you're like zooming in, you can kind of see a difference. And then here, ooh, do we get a, oh, we are getting errors. Okay, that's good. What are these errors? On option button selected. Error calling method from signal item selected. Item selected. On option button selected. On option button selected. Really? On option button selected. Really? Keep this here. Response from the instead. Try to have OSC VMC receiver to receive input from outside, like VC face. Maybe for them. Maybe for them. I've got it working, I guess, more or less directly. VC face doesn't even use OSC. VC face just sends packets directly. So they're directly encoded in VC face's own format, I think, right? Like OSC is a very specific format. VMC is like a weirdo format, but lots of people like to use it. Like for an unknown amount of years because I got out of school bus range, I couldn't get it. School transfer from school, I got in school. Back to what? I think you kind of lost the plot somewhere along the line in that explanation. But I got you. I got you. I gotcha. Oh, I see. On option. What is the on option button selected? Yeah, okay. So this gives you the index. Oh, and then we're also passing in the signal. Option button. This is the first year CS course where 40% drop halfway. That sounds about right. most of the intro courses are weed out courses. Like for example, our intro, whereas it's like our second year accounting course. What is it? There's managerial accounting and then the other one, which is a lot harder. I made it past, happy to say, with a C. All my friends who were in the course had to drop it and then took it at another school. Yeah. Wonders of proprietary software? Yeah. Wonders of proprietary software. That's why I like Godot, is that you can look at the internals, you can inspect it, decide whether or not you actually want it or not. Change it. It's beautiful. All right. So I published to this. Now we can try it again. Yeah. Look in art. I guess I can look in art. Is it lewd? Is this something that... Does someone need to be banned? He is small enough that having a separate build of it for a single project is acceptable. Yeah, Godot is pretty small. You're half 2D. It's a bit lewd. I get it. Very cool though. Where are the scythes? How are the scythes attached to their back? How does that work? Does it work via magnets? All right. Anyways, let's check this out. Select disabled. Is anything happening? That's the question. You know what? It is working. Look at that. Yeah. Like it's hard for, it might be hard for you to tell, but I can tell. So here I can actually see like the individual pixels. Back magic. I get it. You're a demon, but you don't use black magic for holding your sides on your back. You use back magic. But yeah, look at that. Yeah, okay, so you can use a transparent background and also use MSAA at the same time, but you cannot use FXAA and a transparent. Well, maybe you can. I guess that works. I don't know. Maybe they changed that. Yeah, look at that. The pixels go away, and then the pixels go away even harder at this level. So yeah, there we go. Implemented while I was like only half concentrating. He's done it. Does that make me very smart? Am I smart now, Papa? All right, we've changed a bunch of stuff though. Okay, so let's check out branch. It's like this is like just a hodgepodge of things. Call it feature. Add back MSAA. Gotta check one thing. I think they're on the back, so yeah, back magic, yeah, see? You're welcome though, for the pun. By the way, MSAA value, is this not being saved? Config manager. This should be saved. Maybe it's not. Hold on. In default runner, did I not add that? No, I did add that, yeah. Default runner, and then here, we changed all of this stuff here. Oh, hold on. Do these need to be handled separately? No, right? So if I go here, I can tell that it's not on. Set it to 4, close it, look at this file again. Okay, cool, I'm just dumb. All right, it's implemented. Git status, git commits, add all with a message. Add handler for option button. 100% smart. Well, no, about 100%. Let's compromise and call it 10%, huh? Option button in base layout. Add better logging for pub sub. Add back setting for MSAA. push your origin feature add back MSAA. There we go. Guess I don't really need anybody to review the pull request, right? So add MSAA, create pull request. Let's look over the code one more time. So there's that. Use FXAA, that's fine. That has to change. Actually handle it properly. I'm reviewing my own pull request, don't worry. We handle it, that seemed to work. There were no errors. Callback, config updated, yep. Yep, that looks right. This looks right. Settings, that's probably fine, I don't know. Set up class, this is actually a bit more correct as well, so that's fine. Subscribe, that's, yeah, this is the better error handling, and then this is better error handling. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Actually, I've never really checked. Am I allowed to review my own changes? Okay. That makes sense. Authors are not allowed to review their own changes, but I am allowed to force merge my own changes. Question for VPup Pro, does it require manually launching after every time there's a change to source, or is it automated? It requires manual commits. Yeah, so I can actually do that now. Hold on. Let me just change this out really quickly. Want a fun fact? Yeah, give me a fun fact. I like fun facts. What do you got? If it's not a fun fact, though, you're immediately banned for 24 hours permanently. The half TD VTuber avatar I made from random. So basically, I made the look from thin air. Nice, nice. Are you trying to go for like a super deranged persona? Is that is that what you're is that what you're going for? No, it's cool, I guess. I made the duck from thin air. I think one of the few old photos that I have in my phone is of the, I think like it was like in 2013 it became really popular to put like big blow up duck floats in like various cities' harbors. So I got a really good photo of one of them. And look at me now. I'm a duck, more or less. And also the demon like in dragon type deal. A demon dragon. Do you like dragons? Dragon these nuts over your forehead. Got him? He's so good. How does he come up with this type of humor? It's completely unmatched. Yeah, dragoning these. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now you're getting it. Okay. So let's actually do the connect to, oh, that's not how you do it. Connect to DigitalOcean. Connect to DigitalOcean personal. Yeah, there we go. So we're in. Then we go to dev, virtual puppet project website, get status, get pull. All right, get config, pull. And we also need to do this globally. Pull, rebase, false. He's done it. Okay. And so then, hold on. I'm trying to remember how to do this. Didn't I just copy this entire folder? So this is under, but that pun. Duck idea is nice, less moving parts, less errors, unless it's DNS. Yeah, it's always DNS. DNS is huge pain. All right, so VPup Pro, static, okay, I remember. So then we just need to copy over everything in static. So CP, copy, static everything to, oh, also sudo, what is it called? Literally in the command above it, vpop pro static password for me. Is that my password? That might not be my password. Is this my password? Did I actually forget my password? Oh no. Okay, now we're good. vPrep Pro. Is this changed? I don't remember if it's changed or not. Those are cool lookies anyways. Is yours a dragon, or is that a, does it have wings, separate wings, or are its wings also its arms? Because if its wings are its arms, that would make it a wyvern. Actually, streamer. Oh, well, if it doesn't have wings at all, does that make it a dragon? Isn't it just closer to like a weird goat? Or maybe like a weird lizard goat? You have a password? Yeah, well, I have a sudo password, right? So I do connect via SSH, because that's really the only way to connect. It's the only secure way to connect, I should say. But then in order to run sudo commands, there is a password. I do use a password manager, but I don't actually... for all of these like administrator stuff, I don't actually use the password manager. I just pull from I have a pool of like, I think 6, maybe 7 passwords that I pull from. And they're all pretty long, right? They're all at least 15 characters long. Sorry to say. Like, yeah, I guess you could break it. Could break in if you were to guess it in like, maybe 100 years. That's pretty good. I'll take that chance. It says when it's half dragon, half demon. I suppose. I suppose. I think isn't it closer to like half demon, half goat? Or maybe half demon, half goat, half lizard. So it's actually 150% of an animal. I have no password set in my... Yeah. No password. That's a no-no. You should have at least some password, so you make it inconvenient. Not the best idea if you host a public system that have multiple users. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's possible to, like, this has a public-facing IP, right? So I'd rather not. I'd rather not have no password. Let's see what happened. Parse error, too few arguments for scan. Oh, okay, I see. Well, you know, this is what I get. This is what I get for doing this incorrectly. Script error. Okay, so we actually, I should have run these tests first. Okay. Bad developer, bad developer. Yeah, okay, I see. So scan path, scan this. Okay, so run it again. Assert equals invalid operands. MSAA value. Okay, so this should default to 0. I might have to just push another commit. Yeah, okay. Bad developer, I didn't run the tests. My bad. Git commit. So we'll just commit this straight to master. Fix tests for extension manager and metadata. All right. I'm the only one that's allowed to push straight to master, by the way. Rookie numbers. Yours are like 60 or 70. I see. suppose that's fair. I think my SSH key is 128, so get wrecked. It's the website success, mobile friendly. Here we go. Oh baby. Yeah, I think if you want to look into Hugo GitHub, I think that would be worth looking into. So you get something that looks a bit better than whatever the heck the layout I went with is. And I like Hugo because this is pretty much exactly what I based. This is how I learned how to make Go things, is I just looked at this. And I was like, okay, this is how Hugo works. Just have a triple nat. Yeah, I saw, yeah. 60 to 70 character, yeah. My SSH key is 128, so I'm not super worried about password length. Actually, anything past 25 is overkill anyways, right? Because on average, it should take you around like the heat death of the universe, is it? If your password is 25 characters in length. Right, because that's 25. What's 25 to the power of 25? 25 to the power of 25. It's a very large number. What the heck is this? Did you say overkill? I did say overkill. Yeah, it would take you this many seconds, or this many milliseconds to guess that many iterations, assuming that you were not blocked. So, you know, you do need to reconnect to the host every like 3 tries. You get the password wrong, so. Right, because it's you have 25, well, it's not 25, it's actually more than that, right? Because you can have more than just the US alphabet as well. Right, is that right? Is that wrong? No, I think that's actually wrong. I think it's actually larger than that. I did my statistics wrong. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've done statistics. Overkill. Looking into go for web dev, it'd be strange. From front end to back end style work, I like Go. Go is one of those things that's going to be around for a little bit, for sure. Because I don't know, like it's just super intertwined with a bunch of things. Like all the big container projects are using Go. You know, Go is really good. It's about the same as D in my opinion. Like they're both ahead of time compiled. I guess D is kind of weird because it's not really backed by anything. But I think their syntax is somewhat similar anyways. But D's gonna be back. D's gonna be around for a long time, for sure. All right, so feature remote control server. So git check out feature remote control server. But yeah, Go has really good concurrency control. So like something that you always hear about when people talk about Go is you'll have Go routines. It's like a coroutine, so it's not another thread. It's a green thread, I guess. There's another word for it, I know that. But basically, like the language itself has its own scheduler. So you can run things like they're multi-threaded, but only using one thread, and that's what Golang is really good at doing. Git rebase. Oh, okay. That was a bit scary. All right, reload me. So everything should still work because we're rebased off master. So everything's still here as well. So this all works. Eyes are closed. MXAA. Yeah, okay. Even to the power 25, considering that there's still more digits. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like that's not enough, right? Because you can have digits, you can have punctuation. And then I think that my calculation was also wrong, right? Because it's to the power of, but it's not actually to the power of. Isn't it like, It's 26 plus digits, so 20 is 36 plus punctuation. So we'll say we'll be lenient and say it's just 40, but it's actually more than that. So it's 40 to the power of, or no, it's just 40 times 25. What's 40 times 25? Or it's not 40 times 25, it's 40 times something. I don't know. Don't ask me about math. I'm very bad at numbers. Ask me more about variables and we can start talking. Numbers are my worst subject, aka like first grade. Yeah, all of those characters. Yeah. Power 36. Notch2D might have a hand in that. Yeah, Notch2D is like the only big D project. Uwu. There's not really any big projects using D. That's because like D doesn't really have a great niche, I guess. Because like D is really close to like C# in Java, except that like you can define whether or not you're passed by value or passed by reference, right? And then nowadays C# you can also ahead of time compile it. Java you can ahead of time compile it. And then of course there's other libraries as well, right? So like D doesn't have as many libraries. D actually has 2 standard libraries. Did you know that? Fun fact. What was I changing, by the way? Start adding remote control server. All right, that's the remote control server. Yes. I think I've noticed the current website, Firefox jumps up a decent amount in CPU usage when JS enables for loading the animations in the background. Yeah, that's true. I can see that. Because it is like rendered in 3D, which is why I was saying like probably look into doing Hugo and just get like a nice looking website instead of using the, right, like this is my old website. I still need to update it. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, baby. Management information systems. Oh, and this is wrong as well. This is wrong. This should be risk management. Oh, no. My website's wrong. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, a lot of the code for the VPupper website is just taken from my old website, which needs to be updated, but I need to find time. All right, this stuff I need to get rid of as well, but we'll get around to it. Add a new issue. Remove Python path from config. No longer needed now that OpenC Face is packaged for Linux. So the idea is it's heck to build that stuff online. Yeah, because it's not it's kind of a weirdo language, right? The tooling just isn't there for it because no one uses it. It's a chicken and egg problem for sure, right? Like there's no tooling for it because no one uses it, and because no one uses it, no one builds tooling for it. Right? It's just like how, you know, between Rust and Zig, I prefer Zig, but like no one uses Zig. So there's no tooling for it, or the tooling for it sucks. Whereas lots of people like Rust. You know, I think it's okay. I like how the tooling is there, for sure. It's nicer to write than C++ at the very least. What am I looking at? Remote control server. Okay, so remote control GUI. So we start running here, then you can see all the GUI stuff. So there's all of these things, and then I need a way to run this for every single one of these. Or maybe I'll just expose WebSocket for now. 25 to 72 is some large value. Yeah, scientific notation. Yes, I used something for that. All right, well, congratulations, I guess. You know, it's that value is also like the max value. So right? Like if it's completely randomly generated, if your key is randomly generated, you could also just randomly generate like a bunch of zeros in a row, and that would technically be completely random. Just like you can flip a coin 10 times in a row and get heads every single time. And that would make you question, like, maybe this coin is weighted. But also, if it was completely random, that is a valid outcome. Yeah, look at that FlatHub has a builder tool for it. For D, strange. Besides the oof. Yeah, all the website is whack. Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry, I do like read. One thing I'm really good at is reading. I just don't respond to everything because I am like not playing video games. I think it's easier to read chat when you're playing video games, right? Because video games, you can more or less just turn your brain off. Whereas, you know, this application has many, many lines in it. Lots of which are either not documented enough or not documented at all, or they're documented incorrectly because the things have changed. So I'm losing my mind. Let's see. So this is a VBox container. How am I doing this? Stop server, start server. So this is for the remote control stuff. So the Rust server not yet implemented. UDP. This is actually somewhat implemented. Look at that. Oh, right. Not implemented, actually. Good job, me. I had the idea of implementing it and then just proceeded to not do so. Double face. Yeah, you could have a double face coin, but you know, I think that goes along with the idea of, you know, it's more of a, you know, a poetic sense. You build your own luck. Isn't that's how spoilers, Harvey Dent works? Is that whenever he flips his coin, at least in The Dark Knight, it's a double-sided coin. It's been a long time since I've watched that movie. Yeah, doesn't it, like, whenever he flips his coin, it's always heads because he just has a double-sided coin. And it's only after he gets caught up in the explosion by the Joker, spoilers for like a 20-year-old movie at this point, that his coin becomes not double-sided, and then he actually starts leaving things up to chance. Yeah, you can't turn your brain off in the games I play. Chess, D&D. I do actually turn my brain off during chess. Like when you're playing like 5-minute chess. I like to play 5-minute chess. 10-minute chess makes me stressed out because I have too much time to think. 3-minute chess, brain is completely off at that point. I'm just making moves. 5-minute chess, I have enough time to maybe think about it, but then we go into the scramble when we don't have when there's not enough time. That's also a lot of fun. All right, so this is the WebSocket server. What was I thinking about here? Data received. So these are all technically correct. All right. I think I'm also going to refill my drink. I'll be right back. BRB. Hello, hello, I'm back. I'm gonna look at my old implementation for remote control server here. What is this notification, by the way? Re-add. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Oro. Much appreciated. Honestly, this is one of my least favorite things to do, is the project management stuff. Even though that's kind of how you get into the making the big bucks, right? Like being a project manager kind of sucks. Like it has manager in the name, but all you do is like sit in meetings and then talk about like deliverables. Like I've sat in on one of those meetings before. And it was just absolutely killing me. All right, there you go. I'll let you merge whenever you feel like it. But yeah, once you have manager in your job title, it is easier to become a manager after that. Whereas for me, the only routes is really, I guess, engineering manager, which isn't that bad. But I don't, management's so boring. Not a huge fan of management. Yeah, I think recently I've been thinking about moving out of consulting and trying to do an internal interview so I can go into engineering. All right, there we go. Because even though like consulting, I don't really do that much. It's really nice. It's also like extremely soul sucking, right? Because I don't actually do anything. Or all the work that I do inevitably gets thrown away anyways and no one uses it, right? Because a lot of consulting is just like, we have extra budget and we need to use it. So might as well hire a consulting firm to provide like, bodies, right? So we can burn some money. They might give us some good stuff. They might not give us some good stuff. Who knows? Project manager either living the time of their life or dying slowly inside. Yeah. Well, I mean, why not both? Like I'd say I'm doing pretty well, I'm not even a project manager. But like at the same time, I'm so done with like sitting through all these meetings, and then I present something like, oh, here's a demo of, we have Jenkins, which is used to be a very popular CI/CD kind of thing, running on your mainframe. Jenkins isn't even supposed to run on a mainframe, but we got it working, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Anyways, and I was like, all right, well, technically that was one of our deliverables, but no one's gonna use it. Okay, sure. I worked really hard on this. But, it's like, sure, I still got paid, but like, must be hard. must be hard, I guess. Like I can hear everyone screaming, like, oh no. Whatever you're doing doesn't actually have real consequences. What a hard life. And it's like, yeah, but like, I can feel myself like slowly being corrupted. Actually, I'm already like halfway corrupted to being like a total degenerate at work. Right? Like you need a little bit of danger in your life to keep yourself sharp. If there's no danger, then you're just like, whatever. Everything's fine. Who cares? Start server. Things be able to run on all old IBM mainframes. Fun. Well, it's because they're not actually old. They make new mainframes nowadays. Like they still pump out new mainframes. And actually, if you there are valid reasons for buying mainframes, at least if you're based out of the US. Did you say code that will never be used? That sounds just semi-coding. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it like me. Like, I'm using my own code. That's at least one person. And I think noted Twitch streamer Rogue Ren also uses this program, probably. So that's at least 2 people. I don't know if anyone else uses it. But yeah, mainframes, you know, not sponsored by IBM. Actually, that's not true. I guess I do technically work for IBM, but that's not the point. My views do not reflect the views of IBM. Just to preface everything. What was it? Mainframes, more power efficient. They take up less space than a standard rack of servers, right? They're also certified by the U.S. military for certain cybersecurity whatevers. They have failover whatevers. So you can take out the CPU of a mainframe and swap it out without ever shutting it down, and that's really cool. I was like, what? Like that, I think on like high-end servers as well, that's something you can do. But most of the time when we're talking about like a cluster in a data center, you're not buying the highest quality stuff, right? At least with a mainframe, you get the guarantee that it will work with degraded performance. But I got hired to pull legacy code off of mainframes and translate it all to cloud-based. Oh, I'm familiar. Yeah. Was it the app migration stuff? It's actually kind of humorous, is that we're actually going in the other direction. So we're pulling things from x86 servers. So guess what? If you're using a computer, it's probably x86, unless you're listening from your phone, in which case that's ARM. But yeah, we're going in the other direction. So we're porting things from x86 over to S390X, which is the most common mainframe architecture. As far as I understand, I don't know. I'm not one of the sales guys. All I know is that we're running Linux on the mainframe, and then we just have to recompile like almost literally everything, unless it's a pure Java or Python application. If it ever compiles down to a binary, we need to recompile it. So that's one of the downsides of ahead of time compilation. So I'm looking at this, by the way. I'm not just talking for talking's sake. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, like, is this good enough? Is this good enough? How the heck does this work? I think this is actually kind of wrong. Yeah. Because if you close this just gets yeeted. Gen 2 time. Gen 2 looks cool. I'm kind of past that part of my life, though, where I like to recompile stuff. Yeah, not a huge fan of system administration anymore. Unless we're talking about like automating system administration, in which case I can totally do that. But administrating my own system, absolutely not. That's why I like Debian. Because Debian 100% will always work. Consider Gen 2 for when it gets to the colder months. What do you mean? Because you have to compile more, so it generates more heat for your processor. No, Fedora Core OS. You're using Core OS? How? I thought Core OS was a super stripped down version of Fedora. Like, we use Core OS because it's meant for containers. Oh, okay, interesting. I guess you could, yeah. I guess it is like super stripped down, but you could still use it. When you say, how does this work? I mean, questioning? Is that how kids say it nowadays? They put a question mark in the thing part of my coding? Fair enough. Build a custom CoreOS image with this. Oh, okay. So you're just running everything in a container. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what CoreOS is for. Yeah. It's for containerized workloads. I think this is fine. I just need to think about this. This doesn't seem right. This also does not seem right. I feel like I need to... I'm thinking. It's something about this. I keep looking at this and there's something in my brain that's telling me that this is wrong. That this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Hold on. So we go to Extension Manager. Okay, here's what we can do. So we have extensions, and then in the Extension Manager, we can also have an area for, or a data structure to hold just things, if that makes any sense. Or maybe in App Manager, right? So App Manager, we can have extensions that just run in the background. Could be. So not even an Extension Manager, but an App Manager. System admin, that's what I work during the summers. My least favorite job. Wipe the Macs, re-image, connect to a server, pull the apps. Yeah. That's my least favorite kind of thing. But that's also what I get paid to do, right? Is replace sysadmins. Sorry to say it. Sorry, Nero, I'm taking your job. And I'm giving it to a computer. No. I'm just bad at spelling that one word. Question. Questioning. Questioning. Container in some way, yeah. Most of my apps are flat packs. When they aren't, they're in a distro box container. Yeah. I think that's one of the really, really nice parts about what do you call it? Linux is that you have, yeah, right. Containers are first-class citizens, whereas on Windows, you don't really have a container. Mac also does not have containers. So Mac, you get the really horrible Docker app, which leaks memory like crazy. Windows, I still need to look into it. I wasn't able to get containers to run in my Debian WSL container thing. I guess it's not actually a container, it's just a side-loaded kernel. School districts always need IT people on hand to get paid to sit back and work hard for like a month. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. You always need some sort of IT person for sure. Always need some sort of IT person. I'm thinking, by the way. I'm thinking. So how this used to work in OpenCFace GD, so you can actually see it here, right? Like this is, there is a remote control server just built in. So that was more or less like hard coded. But that's not really possible anymore with the way that I've laid out this application, which is why I'm very confused. Because with this remote control GUI, if I put all this stuff here, it will basically explode, right? Once I close the window, because once the window goes away, this goes away. So I'm thinking about it. If I call the Docker apps for Windows, yeah, they just run in a VM, yeah. Well, on Mac, they still run in a VM. On Windows, if you have WSL2 installed, you can actually run via that kernel instead. Yeah, but anyways, talking about school, not talking about school. My parents have been trying to convince me to go back to school to get my master's. I'm like, absolutely not. I don't want to getting a master's degree sounds like absolute torture, considering how bad I was at school in the first place. I think what I can do is not here, but in temp cache manager. Well, temp cache manager is also not a node. It's also not a node, so there's no way for me to run it, or even like tick it, if that makes sense. Oh, you know what? What I can do is I can stick it into the temp cache manager. I can have something here under app manager that's like a tickable, right? Tickable. And so we just kind of like tickables, right? So, and then every single tick, which is delta, we can tick it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. For I in, well, I feel like that should probably run on a thread though. We shouldn't like manually tick every single thing. Well, we could, but that makes it more CPU intensive. But adding more threads also makes it more CPU intensive. Sorry. It's 2:30 where you are. Are you in Newfoundland? 2:30? Or are you in Greenland? Isn't Newfoundland the place in Canada that's on like a halftime? Because I know that like there's nowhere in the US that's on halftime. Right? US is either like Eastern time or bust. Everyone else doesn't matter. Expulsion? I love expulsions. I was never expelled. I was a good enough student to avoid being expelled. So did you like how I called it Newfoundland, not Newfoundland? I know how they call it in Canada. Canada. Oh, Canada. Alright, yeah, this is not the way to do it, by the way. I guess the thread just exists for forever. Thank you for redeeming a hydrate. Where does this tick from? Or does it just start on the thread? Alright, about 2/3 of the way done with my water bottle. Oh baby. Okay, so here, clean up on pull, no. Cache. Clean up mappings, clean up on signal, if not this thing. Clean up on signal. Okay, so when you click on one of these, we can go to our default GUI. Well, that's not really how you want to do it. Maybe with this, we can just add it to the... That's tough. That's tough. I'm trying to think about it. There must be a good way of doing this. There's a better way of... I need to move all of this stuff to a different object. And I'm trying to figure out where. It shouldn't go in the app manager. Right? Because this is something that you can just leave out, right? Like, I'm also not going to ship this by default. On something else, I'll randomly suggest maybe I have a way for a user to have a set a maximum range for a model to move in so it doesn't stretch and doesn't need to reset the track whenever that thing happens. Yeah. I was thinking about that, but I'm not super sure of the best way to do that. Because that's kind of tough, right? That's kind of tough. I got to think about it. But yeah, if you can raise an issue, and we can have that as a feature. Yeah, pretty much any like idea that you have, as long as there's not an already like outstanding issue, it's fine. Right? I mostly just ignore all the ones I'm not currently working on anyways. But you know, just add them to the board or whatever, and I'll think about it. Now, how would you ever do a 2D avatar maker and tracker, which could work without a face cam if someone asked you to do a commission? Well, funny you asked, paid chatter. Is that I already have mouse tracking. Look at this. Wow, mouse tracking. And then also in my Discord, I did come up. All right, this does kind of break, by the way, if you ever go off of the screen, because I have multiple screens. I have many screens. But 2D avatar, if you scroll way back here, I'm not gonna look at. Oh, I guess I could look at it. What is this? A laugh. That's pretty good. And something else. I'm not sure. I was coming up with an idea for 2D avatars. So where is it? Yeah, here. So somewhere around here. And then there's like a pseudo thread if you want to look at that. Yeah. Look at that. So it's not really, well, yeah, I guess there is math. It's more of like an algorithm, which is also, which is math, I guess. But it's, the problem with that is I'm not sure what the algorithm's supposed to be, right? Because if you have an eye like that, and you have this square, I need to be able to resize, right? So your original image is like is a square, because all images are stored as squares anyways. So you can split it, set the center, and then you can kind of stretch, right, the image while maintaining the size of the square. But as it turns out, there's not too many libraries that do that for you, so I need to implement that logic myself, which is very difficult. Right, so I need to resize like every other square while maintaining the original size of the square. Does that make sense? So if we like move the center off to the left, that means that this square needs to shrink and then also reposition itself. This square needs to stretch and then also reposition itself so that the original square is maintained, right? So that's kind of tough. That's a tough implementation problem that I'm honestly not super qualified to do. It's like I know what I want to do. Now I just need to bang my head against the wall until it works, which is going to be pretty painful. So, do I have a plan for it? Yes. I think I do need like a computer whiz to take a look at it though, because that's tough. You can try it head first to find out how. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I was looking at, right? Is we're looking at just the eye, actually. Like, not even the full head, just the eye, and then see how you would even do that. Well, that's, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy. Like, can you think of a way to do it? You know? And, just install something from NPM forehead. Yeah, well, yeah. I think it is, the reason why it's also so difficult is because it's novel. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it like that. So, like a Spline, Dragon Bones, Live 2D, Enoch 2D, they all use vertices. Whereas this one is very basic, right? It just works off of 4 squares. Which is very tough. I think the vertice implementation is way more complicated, of course, but it's flexible because then once you get the initial implementation down, it scales to pretty much everything. Whereas with whatever I'm going with, it's, I don't know. I don't really have a good solution for it. Maybe it does scale, maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's a reason why everyone goes with the vertice implementation rather than 4 squares. Oh, yeah, not so. Yeah, of course. The high level idea, you don't have to worry. I already got that down pat, right? Easy. The high level idea is there. It's just the implementation that's really tough. Just like here, like the high level idea here is really easy. It's only when I start getting down to the implementation in details that I'm thinking. Like where do I stick these? Where do I put these? Because these will actually, yeah. I mean, tab cache manager. Oh, hold on, default GUI. So when you click on one of these, clean up on signal tree exiting pop up. Yeah. Yeah, so these all clean themselves up, so they free memory when they're no longer needed. That's pretty much the point of this. So if there are no more pop-ups of that type available, yeah, it will free itself. Do mask layers with your own avatar, 2D avatar tracker can... No, what does that mean? Those are just words. Like, yeah, you have a mask layer, but like, what do you mean by it can use? What do you mean you can use a mask layer? Being harder to implement is why I suggest aiming the project towards indie models. What does that mean? What does that also mean? These are indie models. Like, it doesn't get any more indie than squares, right? It doesn't get any more... Like, this is the simplest possible implementation, really. Right? Like, this is a face, as you can kind of see. I don't know why it's giving me the loading thing. Like, this is the simplest possible one, is that you just have a face. And then, like, it's not actually going to be squares, right? Like, the square is just the demonstration of how the image by itself is represented. Images are always squares in computer terms. If your image is not a square, that's because you're doing some weird vertex transformation stuff, which we're not dealing with. Make it easier to understand than Live 2D is very... Well, that's what I'm saying, is Live 2D is very complicated, right? Because it uses vertices instead of squares. It doesn't subdivide the square into 4 squares. What it instead does is says, like, okay, you could, you can select any number of points. All right, it's a true polygon. You can make it a triangle. It could be a dodecahedron. It could be a whatever, right? Animals means looking like Pokemon sprites. I think it's fairly simple. Well, it doesn't matter, right? That's what I'm trying to explain. Is it doesn't matter. Every single image is already a giant cube. Every image is already a square, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't. What the image is showing doesn't make a difference, right? Because I'm not doing any vertice stuff. I can, like, how many vertices does a square have? Like, riddle me this, and then I can determine which level we're interacting on. How many vertices does a square have? And then how many vertices does a triangle have? So I guess I'll do part of the math for you. A triangle has 3 vertices. But knowing that every image on a computer is always a square, we can assume that every image on a computer has 4 vertices. Yes. And so if we split that into 4 smaller squares, now we have 16 vertices. And if we always just treat everything like a square, then everything is working with 16 vertices. Regardless of what the image is representing. It makes no difference. Right? The contents of the image are all the same to me. I don't care. All I know is that I'm given an image, and then that image is always going to be a square, because computers are set up to deal with, well, image formats are set up to deal with squares. Rendering is actually done with triangles, but what is a square but 2 triangles? All right, so it should not be done here. I think this server should be put here. So where do we do the server stuff? Server is server new, and then we insert a logger into it. So I think, and then the listen thread should also be, no, this probably should be its own object, right? So it's like a server handler. Yeah, that probably makes more sense, right? So I go to resources, server handler, and then we'll just insert that into the temp cache manager, and then we can also just have this hang out somewhere else. Lab in mind is currently more than deforming like Live 2D in Notch 2D. It resembles an image like you would do in a simple image manipulation program, not turning a cube into a circle, but turning a cube into a larger, smaller cube. This probably isn't the best time to think of stuff. No, I think you're already describing what I'm already describing. Like, I guess I don't understand. I guess I don't understand how your idea is different from my idea. Right, like this is a square, right? This is it's not even a cube, right? Like you're describing, are you describing things in 3D with a cube? This is a square. This is a square sliced into smaller squares, right? This is sliced into smaller squares. Is that statement confusing? I can make it simpler. I mistook a square for a cube. I guess I don't know. Like I'm trying to be. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because like I've already explained this. Like I've explained this 3 different ways, and I feel like it's still not getting through. All right. So here. So server, some sort of connection, listen thread. So I'll move a lot of this stuff over to here. And then this is just the GUI. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. And then we'll pass in the server. Oh, we have no idea what this is going to be. Try to make an actual POC and come back to it. I suppose I wish you luck, because that's what I'm talking about. That's the hard part. that's the really hard part is the yeah. I mean that's it, right? Is that it's really hard. Your POC is pretty much exactly what I'm talking about, right? Unless, like, do you need like a visual? I can do a visual as well. Thank you, everybody. I'll just finish up my 1 liter of water. It'll go really well with like the, I don't know. Oh, there's a little bit of backwash there. I felt the need to belch halfway through that. So instead of like spitting everything back out onto my keyboard, I instead spit everything back out into my water bottle. That was pretty gross. But yeah, so basically what I'm talking about here, right, is how do I change these colors? Fill, solid color. All right, so given a square that looks like this, this is a horrible color actually. So given a square that looks like this, right, and then you can imagine that it's subdivided into 4 bits, right? And then, considering that it's now split into 4 pieces like this, right? So each one of these is a different piece. I guess I should do these as different colors. I'm not sure why it's not filling it. Yeah, there we go. And then assuming that each one is split into a separate thingy-majig, like so. This is pretty much the Microsoft logo, by the way. Actually, isn't this the Microsoft logo? Right, so given something like that, then if you were to move the center like so, so like you offset the center like this, right? So you, I guess we're tracking up into the left, like what you would get afterwards is this. Is that explicit enough to describe my idea? If this doesn't work, then I'm sorry. You might actually be some sort of plants-based person, maybe a cabbage, if you will. Because I guess I don't have any other way to describe the idea. Right. So the image gets resized. It gets split into 4 squares. So each one of these is an individual part of the image. And then once you move the center, it gets, every single individual image gets offset. It gets scaled. Yellow and green, wrong spots for the Microsoft logo, yeah. But I'm not actually making the Microsoft logo. It's for a demonstration. You brainlets. It's a demonstration. That's pretty much what I was thinking about, a lot more intertwined. Yeah, but like that makes it very complicated. Anything more than this, like this is already extremely complicated. This is already very, very complicated. I think that's something that I mentioned at the very start, is that this coming up with this algorithm is already pretty complicated. Said it first. Well, yeah, I said it's pretty much the Microsoft logo, but you know, I guess. Yeah, that's okay. You just gotta rotate these like counterclockwise or clockwise. It doesn't matter. I got the red right. You know. Part of problem solving is not being able to perfectly recall. It's being able to recognize a pattern. And so like my memory is actually like really, really bad. I have the memory of like a, I don't even know. The memory of a goldfish, but that's not actually true. Goldfish actually have great memories. So I don't know. What's an animal that has very bad memory? Because I know elephants don't have bad memory, but they're, I guess, renowned for having bad memory because they can recognize people. Goldfish can also recognize people. So I don't know. What am I looking for? Where's the server thread? Perform. Yeah. Where is it? Oh, it's just here. Okay. Server handler. Yeah, I might. It's okay. I'm glad I finally got through to you at the last possible explanation. I get it. You know, verbal explanations not quite good enough. You need the pictures. I get it. I've been there. I've been there before. Especially when it's very abstract. So let's see. Then we pass these to the server handler, and then the server handler. Where does this exist? Oh my god. Okay. Wait, we can push these into the... Oh, no, yeah, okay. So we create these things. We move every single one of these functions here. Move all these functions here. And then we can push these into the temp cache manager. Yeah. Okay, okay. I think I got it. So we do need to push the actual code. So the WebSocket thingy, that's its own server, right? This is a WebSocket server. We push this into here. And then we have the thread function. Yeah. Or actually, no, we can have the selector type. But that might be kind of tough. I gotta think about it. It doesn't matter, right? So I can guarantee the types, right? So this is a WebSocket server, so we can do if server is technically not an animal, that's true, it's an insect, which is is an animal, do animals include insects? I'm actually not clear on that. Are insects animals? Yes. Thank you, Google. Are insects animals? They are invertebrates. They are the largest group within the arthropod phylum. Are they animals, though? Insects are considered animals. Okay, because they reproduce sexually. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a bug, not an animal. Well, it's not in the... It's not a mammal. But it might be an animal. But yeah, I guess not to, by the way, not to rub the explanation in about the idea in anymore, but I'm pretty sure this is exactly what I posted here in the previous comment, yeah. Anyways, just to explain why I'm slightly annoyed. So let's see, if server is WebSocket server, then we'll do thread or listen thread. Well, we can just call it this thread, right? Thread. Oops. All right, well, you said it, not me. I will do my best to abstain from commenting. So self, and then this should be WebSocket. We can take all of these out. Okay, so server, listen, blah, blah. And then we also need to pass in the ports and the, well, no, yeah, it's just the server and then the ports, which is some sort of integer. The thread starts, so server, listen, ports. Okay. The thread starts, listen on the ports, and then unfortunately there isn't really a great way of, well, can't I do this? So we can do a match on get class. Okay, this could work. WebSocket server, whatever this is. All right, so this is a bit better than the Python-esque if-else chains. All right, so this is udp.gd. So there's a UDP server, so we can match against this. Something that I really don't like about Godot is that how so many things in it are dependent on strings, which is a huge pain. Okay, and then that'll probably work, right? That'll probably work. And then I just need to run thread, server pull. I'll pull at the specified interval, and then that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah, UDP. That's fine. Just be sure standard Godot cannot load random models during runtime. This is correct, yes. That's changing in Godot 4. Because one of their core contributors needed it. So I guess they had a little bit more weight to their words, a little bit more weight to their request than I did. 2D model implementation could work around that without needing patches by having two separate well, the 2D model implementation, it's an image, right? So Godot can load images at runtime. So I guess like if you didn't want the model, if you didn't want to load GLTF models at runtime, you could just use a standard build, maybe. Let's think about it. But yeah, but Godot can load images at runtime. Loading images at runtime is very easy, right? Because that algorithm is very well understood, right? Like loading a PNG, very easy. Loading a JPEG, very easy. All right, because those are very old formats. The GLTF format, as opposed to that, the GLTF formats is fairly young. I think it's only like 2012. GLTF format creation date. Oh, it's 2015. It's even younger. That's crazy. Let's see how differently it handles a batch of images in a 3D model. It's not that hard, right? So Godot has Godot image. So we're just explaining stuff, right? So you'll just create a new image class, and that image class contains all the data for your image. Maximum size is this many pixels, by the way. And then you just do like load. You can either load from a buffer or you can just load, I believe. What does load do? Yeah, it just loads an image from the path, yeah. And then you can ignore the warning as well. So it's pretty easy, right? As long as you have the kind of skeleton structure per se. It's not a real like 3D skeleton, but as long as you have the inheritance hierarchy, yeah, the node hierarchy, if you're using a Notch 2D terms, it's fairly easy to just load in every single image. First executable, select the model to use, and the second one would load in the executable, need to be restarted to change it. What the heck? That sounds very complicated. Yeah, starting and stopping executables is not the way, for sure. No. You generally always want to have, like if you're using like an application, right, some sort of GUI application, you always want to have your executables be long running. If you have really short-lived executables, that's going to cause problems 100% of the time. Yeah. Like you never ever want to, yeah. It's really only in Unix, right, where you have executables that like start and stop really quickly. Everything else generally has, like, if you want like a really quick start and stop executable, that's more for like a daemon or like a cron job to run. Your user-facing application should really try not to do that. So an example with that file picker, yeah, well, you generally want to avoid that. Right, because having to manage PIDs is a huge pain, right? Like if you're running a command line application, right? If you're running a command line application, each one of these applications, right, is extremely short-lived, and then you can rely on standard out to give you exactly what you want, right? So we can echo this, pipe it to cats, and then we can assume that echo will always pipe this message out to standard outs. Whereas with your user application here, you don't know. It's hard. And now usually what you want to do is open up some sort of port like I'm doing here, right, with the remote control server, right? So we can open up a port, listen on that port, and then just pull for inputs, right? That's how you usually want to do these applications, right? The jump from CLI to GUI apps can be jarring for some, but you do want to avoid. You do want to avoid doing it like that. Yeah. All right, so selected. What is this? Listener types? Oh, it's up there. Okay. So we'll just grab this. This is kind of gross, but that's fine. All right. So here, I guess all I've really done is move all of this code over from here to here. So at least one is persistent. So match listener type. So we'll have listener types. Rest, we don't want to do anything with that. Listener types, WebSocket. Listener types. Pass. And then we'll just move all of this stuff there. So the server stuff, think about it. We'll think about it. I think we can do var logger server remote control server handler. So logger error. Let's do all this stuff. Kind of ugly. Okay. So server is equal to whatever this was, and then server listen on that port. Yeah. And then we'll do the listen start. Okay, listen threads. And then we can then add this to the temp cache manager, and then also add this straight to the scene tree. Yeah. Yes. He's thinking, he's learning. He's coming up with the design while talking about something completely separate from this. All right. All right, so there's your thread. There we go. Should be fine. And then here, we'll just do yeah, so we have all of these things. Then start server, we'll do server handler. So res is equal to safely wrap am em load resource remote control server handler gd. That's what I called it. Then if res is error, unable to load server handler. But actually, no, this is just the res. Yeah. And bubble up. Then here, what we'll do var handler is equal to, this is some sort of node, res unwrap new. No, you can't do this because it has init args. Okay, that's fine. Var handler script. That's probably fine. So this is some sort of GD script. That's fine. GD script. Unwrap. We'll do all of this. And then because this is still a reference, right? GD scripts are, yeah, scripts inherit from resource, which inherit from reference. So this is fine to just kind of let hang there. Then we'll do var handler, some sort of node is equal to handler script new res unwrap. And then we also need to pass in the listener type. Server selector selected. And then also the port. There's your handler. Then we'll do I don't know, just get tree. Get tree, root, add child, handler. That's fine. So then it'll just kind of exist for a while. Handler, and then we'll do handler name is equal to remote control server. Oh, and then here, start server. All of this stuff I need to get rid of. So that's fine. And then all of this stuff needs to go away as well, because I've moved this. So always keep the start button enabled while the server is running. I just did 70 to 72 and got this number. Yeah, I mean, that's how scientific notation works for sure. Yeah, you know, they, on backend systems, on some backend systems, they use scientific notation for monetary amounts. Right, because the scientific notation is one of those things that's like uniquely suited to dealing with decimal points for whatever reason, which is kind of cool. Because you don't lose any significant figures, really. And it reduces the chance of rounding errors as well. So you don't need to keep track of a separate, you know, whole number and decimal field. All you need to keep track of is just the number and then the exponent. Yeah. 69420 to 72. Yeah, I mean, it's a large number, for sure. So type pressed. I gotta think about this. There's something weird about this design. But yeah, anyways. I'm not gonna push the code just yet, because this is kind of bad. There's something weird here. I can feel it. There's a better design here. I just can't think of it right now. But thanks for tuning in. I'll be live Sunday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time working on this again. Because, you know, now that a lot of the puzzle pieces are finally back in place, I can, you know, we're having fun again. I like working on new features. I don't like porting back old features. But anyways, there's a GitHub link to whatever the heck I was working on. There is a Discord if you want to like go there. I don't have any more water. I don't have any more water. I'll finish my drink instead, in your honor. First, whatever's left of my weird backwash in my water bottle, and then there's the rest of the alcohol. But yeah, GitHub, Discord, join all of those. I don't know. Free and open source, blah blah blah. VPupper. It's beautiful. Look at that. And then what else? I stream Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, so 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Wednesdays from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, that's all. See you later. Goodbye.